Hey everybody, good morning and happy Tuesday. We're going along here. And we're going to only be working for, I love how that I am just this I'm a shadow of a person. Somewhere along the line, I'll get the controls for the camera figured out. At the moment, I've even downloaded all the Logitech stuff, and Logitech does a lot of, do you want to edit through our app? Do you want to record through our app? And I'm like, no, I need controls over the camera whenever I'm broadcasting through Restream. And they're like, oh, we don't do that. You can just broadcast through our app, pay us money. That seems to happen a lot these days. Okay, we've got all the normal trappings today. One of the other things that's going to happen today, we've got two pieces I'm working on, but I've got to leave early today. So at 11:30 local time, I'll be, that's 11:30 Mountain Time, I'll be dropping out of the stream. So we've only got an hour and a half on stream today, which is kind of a bummer. Hey, Brent, good to see you, man. But I'm going to continue working with what we were working on before, and I'm going to work on a commission for Andrew, who may or may not drop by. We'll see. He's doing work as well. But I've only got a little bit more work left on this piece here. So this will be good. You can just join me on this and keep me company. So here we go. I'm going to go on ahead and share my screen, and we will start to get to work. Morning, David. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Tuesday to you and Brent. And I get to work here. Okay, now can you hear me? Because I think that my microphone just dropped off. There we go. It's back. I'll leave the little, because apparently that's a thing. It's a thing for my computer to do, is to decide, I don't know where your microphone is. So, okay. There we go. Now you're back. Okay, I was making a half an Andrew comment, and then obviously I dropped here. So 0.5 Andrews. We only have 0.5 Andrew today, at the moment at least. So we're still working on this piece, which I'm really rather fond of. We've got some instructions and some modifications to the instructions that came in on this. The thing is that the icon here for their overlay, it's disruptive. I would love it if I could get that icon moved over to the right. Let me make a copy of it here and see if they will fall for this. If they'll fall for this, that's what I was looking for. Because moving it over to here would be way awesome. It would add an entire thing to this piece. Right, you're just and at the moment. There's no rue, just and. So, okay. So the idea here, I'm thinking, is if I can convince him to do that, that'd be great. Now, I got instructions on what to write on those books, so I'm going to pull that up real quick here. So we'll do that. What has happened since the last time we were here is I've added on to the piece, and these are full bleed cards, so, right? I like that too. If I can move this over, then that'd be great. We'll have to see whether that's acceptable or not. That may not be acceptable. They may have no choice. We'll have to see. So they've asked me for specific titles here, which go with this particular thing, and all of these have to be joke titles, of course, because that's the nature of things. So we'll start with book 1 is Get Fit. And this is a joke based on there. So I don't want a pencil. I'm on the wrong thing. We need our comic ink here. So this is Get Fit. So one of the things that these guys do, which I think is awesome about their card game, is that they input inside jokes in their pictures that reference other cards. Right? So this is... I'm just making this. Wide and obnoxious because it's foreshortened. So we've got that, and that's Get Fit, which is a reference to War and Grief. That works. That's easy because I've got war. So I'll take this right here. And then I'll go in here. There we go, War and Grief. And that's 2. And the last one is Dawn of Helios. Which, let's go ahead and pull that off there. Won't matter that much here. If they're willing to move that, interesting. Oh, I know why it's doing this. I'm like, none of these words are on this layer. Why is it acting so funny? Why is it making it hollow? It's making it hollow because there's still white under this layer, under the color layer. So when I do that, I'm making these weirder things. That makes some sense. Layers are fun. Layers are us. So I'll just go back in here and make this white. That'll solve my confusion here. I'm like, I don't know why it's doing that. It's so weird. Yeah, whatever. Look at me fixing this. All right. I'll do that over here, and then it won't act so funny. There we go. See? Look at that. All right. Dawn of Helios. Whatever. We can figure this one out here. Get this right down here. There we go. There we go. All right. Then we'll maybe put a sun like that. Right? Exactly. That is my favorite meme. And just so we're all clear, this is a joke that goes on between Brian and I all the time. We even make that face every time. We're like, oh, we have to make that face every time we're on the wrong layer. Stop! What? You're on the wrong layer. We always do that. It's a thing. That is the bestest one ever. This is a hole being pushed and blown through the book here. It's one of my favorite memes ever. All right. There we go. Give it a little damage to the book there. All these books are getting shot up. It's kind of a thing. There we go. We'll need to add the title in. There we go. All right, I'll just put this in here. And I'm sorry I'm being a little quiet during this section here. This is kind of complicated here. It's kind of hard to draw text sideways. There we go. And then I'll put that little sunrise down here. There we go. There. Now the books say what they're supposed to say. And I'll leave the rock salt one to say rock salt. All right. So let's go on ahead. We've got a couple more things I want to do. Let's switch to my flat brush. And I want to do something back here with this book that needs to be done. And I want to do brown because we've got brown touching it right there. And I don't want to do purple because those are both touching too. You also don't want to do green and blue because they were right here. So orange it is. Well, orange might be too much or it might be too close. Maybe it's a different shade of green. Maybe I can do this. Like that. And see, that probably works just fine. There we go. We just want to make sure that it's visible to see that moving there. We want to make sure that happens. And her rock salt book over here, let's go for a shade of blue. So, because I mean, that's sort of her hero color. So let's go in here and do this. There we go. Now, one of the things I like about painting is I like the look of the sort of the painterly sloppiness. So I'm being intentionally somewhat sloppy over here to kind of give it that effect, right? Go through here. No colors are true, so there's never a true absolute blue or whatever. You're going to have reflection from the ceiling, reflection from the walls, reflection from everything. So, kind of going through here, it's not really an issue. There we go. And once again, I'm going to take this, select everything there, go back up here and hit delete, and that'll clean up all those areas where I went off of off the rails, so to speak. Deselect. Okay, checking to make sure that we're still connected to everything. We're still connected to everything. Good. Alrighty. All right. So let's make sure we've got everything we were looking for in this picture. Here. So we're looking at this picture. I've got to go through here and now do our grays because we've got gray on the bottom of her feet and gray on that on her gun, obviously. But that's not going to be that difficult. So we'll do that real quickly here. I'm going to take a dark gray and go on ahead and go in with our flat here. And because this is a metal, we're going to ultimately have to darken it out. We'll come along here, just darken this side here like this. Right, darken one side, under the slide, there, and through here. Kind of make this work like that. And then go down here to the trigger guard. Make sure all of this is colored in nice. Back here, very, very dark. There we go. And down here where the clip is and stuff like that. This is probably a black gun. Most guns are. But if you make it black with her black jumpsuit, you're never going to see anything. Oh, hey, Alex, while you're here, the original frame is this. Is it possible to move this piece over just like that from here to here? Because if you do, we can see her hand on that one, and that would at least give this picture, you'd understand it better. I don't know if that's plausible for this particular card. She has customized guns. You know what? It might not be an unreasonable thought process. She might have totally customizable guns. Anyway, something to think about, Alex. Putting this right here would be really nice. I'm just saying. So, let's add a little bit of purple in here and see what happens. Question is, will we lose it in here? Right? I mean, if we purplized her gun a little bit like this, will we lose it? Compared to the rest of the unit? Yeah, see, we'll lose it. That's the problem. And I feel like I'd lose the gun if it went that way. So I'm against the purple at the moment. So it was a good idea, but the more I look at it, the more I think that making it purple would be... making it purple would make it... you'd lose it. And this is a focal point of this shot. Ha ha ha! This is the focal point. I think I'm funny. This is a focal point, so I want eyes drawn in here. I really do. Let's go ahead and also let's do her boots. You'd think that I'd start over here, but no, apparently I don't. All right, we'll go in here and go like this. Come around like that. There we go, like that. And put this around like that. There you go. That wasn't hard. We're going to have to do this over here too. This one's going to be harder because her body is actually in the way of that one. There we go. It's the target area. You know, we're just not going to end up with it. It's not going to end. There's an endless supply of jokes here. Now, the other thing is, I purposely left this not done in brown because I didn't want it to disappear. I want it to stand out. I want people to see her holster. So it's in gray. You can say it's gray leather. We can say that it's whatever. But whatever is the story, we're going to do this holster in gray. Right? Like that. There. We'll come along here. Because I really do like the idea of this being a different color. So it really stands out. It could be a metallic color. It could be anything. Maybe orange. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, her amber off color here, she's got going for her. Like that. Come around here. Put in some shadow. Make this really work. All right, through here. And definitely in shadow. Right through here. You know, she's kind of a gun person. Feel kind of like gray would be an offset color too. I'm going to go ahead and go through here and just touch this up with shadow so that it makes more sense. There we go. Now I'm going to do the clipping thing again. Go down to here. Go boonk. You have to turn off contiguous, otherwise it will not get into the center section here. There we go. Bork. Delete. Deselect. And that'll trim everything up real nice. There are a couple of things going on with this picture that I want to fix. Now, one, the books are on nothing. I don't know what the books are sitting on. They're sitting on nothing. As far as I can tell, they're sitting on nothing. So, we're going to first Control-Shift-E so that they're all together and everything is in one, hey, blue skies, one layer. The next thing I'm going to do is go here and then go under the picture. And I'm just going to draw in a table real quick. It won't take any time. We'll just do this and then do this, right? And that's all we're going to do here is just a little table. And then we'll fill it with, it's a brown table. So we'll just do a quick brown. And the only reason I'm really doing this is because I know that the Earth Tau guys like to do these things as a full, they'll like to do the full, what am I thinking here? I am getting so distracted. They like to do the full picture and sell them. So I want to make sure that I've got the ability to do this. And I'm just going to go through here and put some wood in, like some grain and stuff like that so it doesn't look static. You don't want it to look static. The books are maybe magical, but they are definitely flying because of what's going on here. Right? So I'll put in some darker grain over here and stuff like that, so that this is just kind of going outward from this point of view. Yeah, their cards are definitely full bleed, and for those of you who are not familiar with what full bleed means, which maybe everybody here, but I'll say it anyway. Full bleed means that the artwork goes all the way to the edge of the card. So in this instance, the magical book here is flying outward, so I want that to look there. And I'm going to give her shadow so she looks like she's hovering above here. right? We got this book who's got a shadow right here, and that book which has got off of the table. So you can see the books are flying around. It all makes sense. It's all logical. There we go. So there's this book. There's her foot out here. She's getting... Yeah, it means no borders. No borders! So this would be what we call our title safe. Right through here, this orange line, that means nothing important should be outside of it, because the way that a card is cut could be cut right. You could have the card cut here, or so anywhere in here, this area, the card could theoretically be cut. So we don't, when we do full bleed, we bleed out to the edges of the card. But then we don't want it to go any further if we can avoid it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about our background. Now the background here, because she's purple, should be a green, because the purple will offset that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my, not hair, because we're done with hair. We did hair. We did the hair. Let's close all the hair. All I'm going to do is get confused by hair. I've got some special effects brushes I can use, some wet media brushes, but I'm not going to actually do those guys. Down here, I've got watercolors and some splashes and things like that, which might be kind of fun. It should be nuclear orange. You're not wrong. You're really not wrong. I'm just saying. I'm going to look through some of these, like maybe these watercolor splatters. Dried blood. I love these things, right? But I want chaos back here, right? So that's what we're looking for, is some kind of chaos, some chaotic stuff going on there. Nuclear orange is not a bad thing. Anybody who says otherwise is not my friend. We'll make this larger so we can get some real chaos back here, right? Just adding a bunch of chaos to the back here by using this. Solid ink splatters that are good too. We really want them up here, like that, right? That kind of stuff. This is all really good, like chaos to just add to the background. I'm going to just keep going through. We don't really need to do a bunch of these, but a few of these, like this and that, adds some real chaos to the background. And then we'll change vary the colors a little, and that'll give us some real, just mess back there. All we're going to do, but it looks really nice and added chaos back there, right? I mean, we just got this, goodness knows what's going on behind there. Anything could be happening. Make it a little darker. And do this. All right. There we go. I mean, the thing is that we've got this great background, or we've got this great foreground, and we really want to just make it so that it's not as, right? Goes like that. I don't like that. I like these guys to be in the background, actually. I think I'm going to put this one layer up so that it's behind all these guys. Look at that. See, now we've got some patterning going. And don't worry yet, this isn't the final version of this. This isn't even my final form, as David would so quaintly say it. We're going to Make this slightly redder. Right? Some seriously chaotic stuff going on in the background. And what I'm actually going to do is once I'm done with this, we're going to do some work with this background. So it's not going to stay this way. For those that are worried about that, which may be Alex, who's going, what are you doing? It'll be fine. Then I've got some watercolor stuff here, which adds watercolor patterns to this. So we're going to add some watercolor patterns. And this can be like this, right? So we've got the chaos back there, but this is a good way to just really just randomly do a background that fits well. But isn't quite as, I don't have to put stuff in. This is actually a trick that they do with comics all the time. There we go. Got quite a bit of that going on now. Put some green up there. Now I get green and orange in that background. Makes me feel a lot better. Put some of this in the foreground. Right. So now what we've got is this. So we take this and we'll put a layer of white on it. And we can bring that layer back. Till we think it looks good. But we don't want to overpower it. And at 100%, that totally overpowers the foreground. So we want to bring it back until it's there and you can see it. Maybe a 50%, right? Oh, fine. At 50%, we can still see it. It's still chaotic. It's still all over the background. And you can still kind of do the effect that fits for the card. So, and that's what the piece looks like standard. Now, one of the things I am feeling a little antsy about on this one is I don't like the angle that we've got going on here. So here's what I'm going to do with this. I take it and do this. And what this is going to do is give me an angle of it, right? Because I feel like this should be the wall behind her, right? Hello, we're not doing what we want to do here. It's distort them after, right? This should be the wall behind her. And it should match to some degree what's going on right here on the table. So if the wall's gotten splattered with blood, that makes some sense. Or whatever you want to call this. Could be blood, could be anything. But that makes it look more like it's a 3D object behind her. Now I can talk a little bit about, right? It's all this nuclear material. It's probably from some other character. If you, when we do painting, we have to control that background. Yeah, it's abstract wall art, or it's some nuclear device that exploded, or something, and it exploded. So I didn't want to put too much time in the background. I just want enough to offset this. And so, I mean, because it's really, the foreground's important, but you need something in the background to indicate what's going on. Otherwise, it's just a big white background. So this chaos could be just a big, maybe she's got a big abstract wall print behind her. That's whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to call this piece, unless there's request from Alex, I'm going to call this piece done and save it. I'd like to save it with this setup because that gives us a little bit more room there and it looks better. But I'm going to go ahead and save this piece up like that and call it good. So there's that. So the next piece that we're working on is a piece for Andrew, who's just and right now. Once he's not and anymore. And that piece is one of my game standees. So we're going to work on that today as well. I should save this, though. Probably not. Yeah, that's fine. It's actually right where it is. Andrew. I did forget to sign it. That's because there once was a... That's a good point. No. Very solid point, my friend. It's actually signed right there. However, nobody's going to see that, so I should probably fix that. I also noticed that good old erasure here has occurred. Really? This is the way we're going to be? No. Really? Oh, I know what's going on. My brush is still set for something ridiculous. I'll go in here and do this real quick. And this, it's a rough fix, but it'll work. Sadly, I have already flattened this before I realized I had made this hole over here. It's all right. The joke is still here, so it'll still be fine. There we go. There we go. Look at that. We got that fixed. Sign your work. Yeah, I know. There we go. So like I said, this one actually was signed a long time ago. This is a rework. And I don't know if I actually mentioned that. But this is a rework of a piece that I did back in 2015. I had posted it to my personal page, and the guys at NukeWest, they saw it and said, "Hey, can you just repurpose that? Would you be interested?" And I said, "Sure," because originally this was, yeah, I know exactly. Nobody knows who gets the grade. Originally, this piece was Black Widow. And I don't like working on popular pieces, but they sell well. And so for a while there, I was doing it, well, it sells. So recently, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just get patrons and not have to worry about sales at conventions and things like that, because I hate the fact that that's a logic that there is, which is, it sells better to do Black Widow and all of those things. So, and this piece now still has life. It goes off and lives a better life as rock salt. And that makes me a lot happier. So we've got rock salt now, and we're pretty good with that. And so I've already saved, so we're good. Now I'm going to go work on Andrew's piece. So I've already picked a pose for him and went ahead and did the rough sketch on it. So this is the rough sketch of the pose. I'm going to go through and real quickly just tap in on things and make sure I've got everything I'm looking for here. So we're looking at, a character. He gave me quite a few references, which was wonderful. It's difficult to run without references. So quite a few references here on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out. Right through here. The original drawing is smaller. My roughs that I keep for these things are in a smaller location. So they're smaller scale. So when I do this, I have to kind of go back through and retouch it for my roughs to fit. Okay. I'm going to go over here and close all my instructions on rock salt and open my instructions on this character. Which I have to find. There we go. Here are my instructions for this character. Instructions. All right. All black in the deep hood, the shadows her face. Okay, so the instructions are oddly thin. So we've got to go for a mesomorph. Ectomorph, I mean. So I'm going to take off pieces of the legs like this and bring down her body size. The character is also young, so that also fits. Going in for a mesomorph. Ectomorph. Ectomorph. This is an ectomorph guy. There we go. So we thin her out quite a bit there. Most of the development in a female frame is through the lower hips and through the breasts. It's actually not quite as much through the waistline as many people think. So the waistline's not going to be as big of a deal, but I am going to run the line like this a little bit more, just a little bit, to give just a little bit less frame there. But she's thin on this side too, so we're going to be moving through here like that. And then we're going to have to thin up her neck too, because she's thin. So we still have to make the connection to the head, but it doesn't have to be quite as big like that. And we're going to take some of her shoulders down. She's not going to have as big of a shoulder. And we've got an active teenager going on here now. Character is 13, so that makes some sense. I'm not going to give her much muscle up here either. She doesn't have a lot of developing muscle yet. So not a lot there. Yep. Hear Andrew again for just a moment. So no, actually, I've got all of that on your text file that you sent, and I'm reading it now. Sadly, my eyes are not what they used to be, so I keep having to turn all the way around and Can you hear me now? There we go. Stupid snowball. Maybe I need to replace the snowball. I'm wondering whether I should replace the snowball. Because that's not the first time during this little session that we've had a snowball give up the ghost. It's kind of irritating. Okay. Andrew, are we good with the pose here? I don't need her backstory per se. I do need to know whether... I mean, well, you sent a whole bunch of... I do actually have a throat mic. I actually have a lapel. So that's not unreasonable to think. So let's see here. Yeah, you know what's funny? Women don't actually have long legs. They have wider hips. And so people see the longer legs because of the wider hips, which is kind of entertaining because you wouldn't think that. But the truth is the distances between all of these things are always the same. If I widened her hips out, she'd look like she wouldn't have long legs. That's why teenage girls look like they have super long legs. Now, it is I watched there once was a documentary on Discovery or somebody, and this is before I went to college. And I found out that a lot of the things that they will do in model work is extend the legs to make them look younger. And that's a trick that's done with older women, but they will actually shave off parts of their hips too for the same thing. It makes them look younger, makes them look less, less whatever. Makes them look less older. But all of those tricks are rude and mean. I always find them somewhat insulting. However, anime is anime, and it is what it is. So, what I'm going to do here is she's wearing a hood, which comes out like this. And the cowling will be like that. So since she's wearing a hood, I want some of her hair to come out like this on either side. So that'll be that. And then go up through here like that. And I'll just drape the hood, cowling like this. And we'll drop her hood down more like this. Influences he was commenting on were Raven from Teen Titans, and I think that's kind of a thing that's somewhat influencing me here on this, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I could pick a different pose. Let me see here. I have a number of these things pre-posed so that it makes it easier. I've just done the poses already. So I just did a whole bunch of, I've collected a whole bunch of these poses. So we can always use that instead. Let me see here. Let me find one that's a little bit more sarcastic. Let me wait 20 minutes for my computer to right mouse click. Yada, yada, yada. Hey, how you guys doing? How's the weather? Yeah. Holy cow. I just right mouse clicked. I'm still waiting. We're at 20 seconds now? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. There we go. So it took 27 seconds for my right mouse click to show up. We've got a problem on this thing going on here. Okay. I'm going to open this in a new window so I don't lose the reference here to... Here's what we're going to do. We've got a couple of pre-poses we can use for this. sarcastic. It's. I think I'm having. It might be an upgrade time. My PC's doing pretty good as far as like processor memory and things like that. I think the biggest thing is hard drive space. Everything I do is either video uh, or artwork, and I just eat hard drive space like mad. I think you do 23 would be good. So yeah, so all of them are platters. Maybe. I've thought about putting it in an SSD especially for my C drive. So let's talk a little bit about maybe this pose. Open with Photoshop. So how about this? You know what? I'm just going to turn it back on to my webcam behind me. It sounds not so good, but I don't know what's going on with my snowball, so I'll order a new snowball at some point. Okay, so Andrew, what do you think of this pose? She looks a little bit more snarky. She looks a little bit more. I'll have to edit it down because she's a ectomorph and this is a mesomorph. But what do you think about this pose? Sassy. Got a couple of them like this. So, of course, I'm not looking for. I like Brent's commentary, but that's not the person in question. We think this is a good pose. We can do a couple of others. Have like a number of these sort of. You're fine, Brent. Well, just can't help me. Of course we can. We can do all of that. I'm just looking. You're good. Just looking to see whether this one works for you or not. So I could bring in, like if we were talking about this guy here, we could bring in this leg. To here, like that. And the head tilt's a little difficult, but this isn't a 3D model, so I'm going to have to just resketch. But I could certainly do that. Well, let's see if we can't find a different pose that fits this. Because it doesn't have to be aggressively angry. You can find all kinds of stuff. I've got some weird poses in here. Let's see. Let's try one of my pre-rendered poses here, because they might be useful too. So we could have 13. Isn't that the truth? I just have to like do that somewhere on the line. We could have something like this. I mean, really, worst comes to worst, I can just spin up Daz and we can come up with a better pose if we wanted. So there's that one. Most teens are aggressively angry. It's true. It's funny because it's true. So we could do something more like this, Andrew, if you wanted. Snarky. You know what we could do is also take and run our head sideways a little bit, like tilt this way more, like she's being a snarky. And I can give her a quirky mouth tilt. So, you know, when you're, instead of going with this, I mean, we could have this is hard to show on these because these are not the world's best. But, you know, have her mouth up like this so that she's, so you like this pose better, but maybe turn her head. Give her less of this look. Let's see what I can do on that one. First things first. Dork. Let's do that. Otherwise, I won't be able to see very well. And no smile. She's not smiling at all. So, hi, we're in the wrong color. How can you tell? More like this. And I'm going to have to clean it up, obviously, but more like this is what I'm thinking, right? This is where we're headed. Got it. It can be done. So I'll take, first things first, let's get rid of this background here so that we don't get confused, because I'll get confused. I will totally get confused. I will not know what the heck I'm doing. Then we'll dump that. We'll merge visible. Right? She's like, really? This is the way you're going to do things. This is your decision. This was your idea. Get her. That was your plan all along, wasn't it, Ray? Get her. You're funny. Whatever you're doing, don't. All right, let's put this in right here. So here's our new sketch. And I'll go ahead and deck it out and trim it correctly. Dump that sketch. Put the white on top. When we get to that stage. All right, let's clean the sketch up. Go in here, clean the sketch up. Really? There we go. Clean the sketch up a little here. Go through here like this. There we go. Give her more chin, more cheeks because she's younger than on her shoulders, the trapezius. And when we come down here, we're going to really thin this down because we really don't want that to be out there that much. So we'll go ahead and clear all this out. We'll thin this side down too. Same thing as before. What color are you picking? There we go, that's the color I want. Then out these sides, so it's not quite, she's not quite as thin face is better because she's frail. Yes, but even frail children have more cheek and jaw. Because actually, it's not that they have more cheek and jaw. It's that the tip of their jaw drops as they grow older. So I can make her face thin, like this, but the skull doesn't have a lot on it. The mandible drops as we get older. And that's one of the signs of youth for us. And the only thing that literal starvation will do is bring in the maxis like that and allow it to be seen. But that's not that doesn't change the mandible's bottom side. It just changes this. Now, if you really want me to bring her face in to be thin, I can certainly do so. I'm just trying to give her the telltales of youth so that you can also see that she's young. Because you want her to be seen as young, I guess. It makes sense. She's 13. So fix these ears right here. Give her a little bit more ear. The ears. Whoa! Could we make them balanced? I don't think so. We're not gonna make them balanced. Nobody needs balanced ears. Who needs balanced ears? People. And I don't know, if she's not starving right now, you won't get these maxilla runs. I get that she might have been young at one point, or might have been starved at one point. But if she's not starving at the moment, then we don't need that run like that. Those are what happens when you are right. Nobody needs balanced ears. Okay, let's take a look at her again. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is put it in here. Let's bring this down a little because it's kind of large. Kind of cute, but that's not what I'm after here. Bring this in, bring that in like that. And that'll help us a lot right there. So, there's that. I also feel kind of like her arms are not quite going far enough out. There we go. Okay, we got about 15 minutes left in this before I've got to go and teach a class online. which I didn't expect I was going to be doing today, but I'm doing today. So there we go. Nothing wrong with that. Going to do that, do that. Yeah, I like that. So I'm teaching a class on artwork. I'm going to teach an art class for a student of my stepmom's, but it's a one-on-one class, and that's fine. And my tablet's dead. It really literally is. The problem is my USB system. There's something wrong with the USB system here, which is why I think we're getting all of the problems we're getting. Okay, can I have my board back now? No, my board's gone. Okay, find that funny. It opened a picture of so this is a Frankenstein machine. It always has been. It was an old white box that was running server at one point in time, and it was when the company went to Blade servers, they had these old white boxes sitting around. So a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I've got these old white boxes. You want them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure," because my computer at the time was dying, and it's whatever. I do have. I mean, I upgraded it since then. Put in a couple of hard drives. Put in a 1080 Ti NVIDIA, which is important because I'm running 3 monitors. So I've got. I mean, it's not like I'm running lousily, but it is an i5, and it's got 20 gigs of memory. So you can already tell right there it's a Frankenstein machine if it's got 20 gigs, right? But this has something to do with my USB system. I've got 2 USB ports in the front that are dead and have been dead for a long time. And so I'm using all kinds of stuff. And of course, classic modern computers now, everything has a USB on it. So like my monitor uses a USB, and my right. Well, I do have a USB PCIe card in the back, which I added, but it's maxed out too. So I'm using like my microphone is plugged into the front USB port because there's just nothing left in the back. I've got mouse, keyboard, monitor, card reader, all the things that need to be plugged into the back there are just plugged in. There's just so many things, everything. My speakers use a USB port. And I don't know why computers come with 3 USB ports when you have everything that's USB. I mean, you plug in your keyboard, your mouse, and your speakers, and you're done. That's all you can do. So it does. I do have a PCIe PCIe card in the back. Now, what I don't know is why my monitor won't restart. My monitor's not restarting. Start the pen tablet stuff. More importantly, I don't think I can get the pen tablet to work. The pen tablet software is not even launching. All right, guys, if you ever want to support my computer thing here, pen tablet launch. I see it down there at the bottom. I see it right here. But when I click on it, it disappears. Okay, pen tablet launch. Where is it? Maybe it's over here. It's under everything. On this monitor. It isn't. It's not on this monitor. Ah, there it is. It is on this monitor. Okay, restarting the monitor. Now I should get control back. There, got control back. There we go. So, yeah, here we go. We're back. We're back, and we have the secret to the air shield. Look at us. Okay. Sorry, Andrew. Got kind of slowed down there for that. So, okay. I want her arm to be out a little further. I feel like she's not giving us the full attitude here. Now this, I'm going to cut back around like this. Cut through here and cut through that so I don't get confused. A lot of this is when I go to the ink stage on the upper side of this, I want to make sure that I've got all of these pieces figured out so that I don't get confused when I ink. I get very myopic when I ink, and so I get very single-minded about where I'm going on things. And so if I'm not absolutely straight with my sketch underneath, I will just keep drawing in things and drawing in things. And then I'll be like, that was a stupid move. I shouldn't have done that. And I hate that. So there we go. Give her that. She's got attitude. She looks like she's grumpy. I'll even thin out this a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Do. And then we'll go through here and do that. Okay. Now I'm relatively happy with our pose. We've thinned things down pretty good. So it looks like we've got pretty good body design going on here. So now we're going to talk a little bit about clothing. She's wearing a cloak, like I was saying before. So let's talk a little bit about where that cloak is. First of all, we have a lot of hair, red hair. So that's going to come out here and here on the front of her cloak. But then the cloak will come out like this and over and up and around like this, and go up and into the crown of her head, and then this will be the back of the cloak right through here. Right? Come back around and up and through. Then she'll have hair that's in here like this. And it comes out front like that. Do. I love hair. Okay. Now, gathering that a lot of this was not. Make it safe. There we go. Now that we've gotten to a point where we're happy, let's get back to our instructions. So, very wide cowl. We can do very wide. But we don't want to go much wider than, say, than her shoulders, per se. But that could be like that. And then like this. And then up like that. And then have it clasped right there. So brought around. All right. Come up like that. It could open to one side, but she's turning her head. So the cowl is going to be turned inside here because her head's going this way. The cowl normally would be like this, right? But since she's turned her head, the cowl's going to pull like that. And it may stay wide to one side, but then her head's in here like this. And that pulls the cowl. It's going to pull the cowl probably rakishly across her face. I like that. It's going to look very artistic. Let's bring up some more of this. I'm going to sit here and draw over here. I'll be like inking happily over here. We're like, what are they doing? I'm such an idiot sometimes. But yeah, I think the cowl will be like rakishly across her face like that. So we'll go in here and do that. So that's probably the way we're going to do this. It's like this, like that, wee, come in like this. Good. So as far as the rest of her, let's see. All black. And it doesn't say what armor she's wearing. Do we have armor for her, or does she not wear armor? We were talking about a chest holster for her knife. So we can put a knife here. And just strap that across her chest like this. And then do something like that. I might work on that one. That's probably going to take some time to get straight. There'd be a knife holster for that, which would have a belt buckle. But as far as like basic armor, I'm not seeing any call for basic armor. No armor, typical other bosses sort of stuff. She's technically from a noble house. Okay, I can do that. All right, so her cowl's going to open up like that and drape. Bodes. Oh, bodice. B-O-D-I-C-E. Bodice. So, yeah, I guess I could put her in a, she doesn't, I mean, I would assume if she's a very youngish girl, she's not going to have a lot to push with the bodice. But she could have like that. So she'd have a bodice up here like this. And it'd be, but like I said, if she's young and if she's ectomorphic, then she doesn't have a lot of chest to show up there. She probably wouldn't anyway. Right? A corset would be also kind of out of character, I think, for her. But a bodice would work. So, because you're right, she's just too young. She wouldn't have anything to really bodice. Poor girl. So, we'll do that. And she probably has let's see, she probably have breeches of some sort. Come down like this and do boots. going across here. She'd have high boots. Because she's a high noble. And apparently boots were a thing that showed nobility. What do we know, right? Come through here like this. Four-length cloak, like that's an impractical length. Okay, so it's going to probably, because she's got her arms up, it's going to do this, which is fine. It'll come back around like that. But I like the impractical length of a cloak. Why are you wearing a cloak like that? Because I can. Grump, grump, grump. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. I totally see that. Liking this character a whole lot. And put that in here. And yeah, I can reverse the dagger. I'll do that for you. Put that here like this. There we go. Put this here like this. Up. She'd probably got a belt like this, for holding pouches and things like that. She's probably got a pouch right there. And it's probably holding somebody's like coinage or something. Who knows? Maybe she's that way. I don't know. Andrew knows, but I don't. We'll do a bodice. Comes in like this, ties in the front, and then I'll reverse this handle. Have this going this way. That's too high now. It's just horrible. Don't do that. All right, go this way. You're my real dad. So the dagger is significant in one of your descriptions, so I want to go on ahead and work on that and add that in. So, your wife listen to this chat. On her hip or on her back? Because I would put that familiar. If it's the size of a kamsa necklace, then I would put it on her back, right? Because, I mean, that seems like a thing. That's a pretty large animal. I mean, it's not massively large. I'm totally okay with that, but I'm just talking about just practicality of wandering around, right? Because then we can put the dragon right here. Like it's coming out of, like it's looking around her. Right? Depending. In other words, she thinks it's cool to stick it on her hip. Oh, I like this. I like this plan. Even though it like slows her down. Oh, no. I can see that. If that's part of the character, I'm all aboard about a medium cat. I have a medium cat. She sometimes comes in here and meows at us while we're doing this. Oh, hey guys. Okay, so we're going to have to save this and come back to it tomorrow. I'm sorry. Sadly, I just realized what time it was. So we will continue on with medium cat in hip pouch, which I think is really really entertaining and very funny, and is going to be a lot of fun. Hey, look, I received 100 posts on this chat today, which I do pretty much every day. I think it's funny that it tells me that all the time. So, okay, Chief, well, I will see all of you people later. I'm going to save this so that we don't lose it, because that'd be bad. Because we're having a lot of fun with this, right? All of us are having fun. So we're at a good spot. I'm enjoying drawing this character. Thank you, Andrew, for hanging with me so that you can tell me what's going on. I actually really rather like that. It makes it easier to do these things. So cool. I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we will continue on with Andrew's commission here. So thanks. See you later.